Jazzcast Pros.
Welcome back to the Stir 716. This is your host, Mrs. T, aka The Spark, and this is episode 6, part 2 of our conversation with the Dr. Miles Travis Boyd Jr. He is senior pastor of Sharon Baptist Church in the South Bronx of New York City. If you caught the last episode, you know we ended on a powerful note, but there's more to the story.
Grab a pen, grab a cup,
even grab your spoon, because
this is The Stir.
Today, Dr. Boyd shares his deeply personal moment when he received a call from the hospital about his mother on September 11th. Dr. Boyd, take us back to that date, and what do you remember about that call?
And the hospital says to us, hey, we found Elizabeth Holmes.
oh my goodness.
Everyone's just like happy, oh my God, we found her. So they rushed to Jersey to go get her. And it was an Asian woman.
Not Elizabeth Holmes. Elizabeth Holmes.
H-O-M-E-S, not H-O-L.
Not H-O-N-G. Not H-O-N-G. But
No.
H-O-L. Okay.
So how did that mix up? How did that mix up happen?
So because we have put out there, so the day right after September 11th, we had these flyers and we went out and canvassed downtown as far as they would let us to go. And let me just say this, New York, it had the most foulest smell.
Mm-hmm.
You could smell it all the way uptown. It was the most
You can
foulest.
even smell it in Staten Island, because I was going to school in 8th grade. Yep.
Yeah, you could smell it. It was so bad. You could smell the dead corpse, the burning flesh. It was just bad. And so, needless to say, that's how they knew. They knew that my mother was someone who didn't come home. It was like a registry, looking for people. So when they went to all these hospitals, and we called all around, right? And one of the reasons why I was very hopeful, because they said that, people either were injured or unconscious. There were some people who had caught temporary amnesia, didn't really know who they were. And so in my head, all right, cool, maybe she had temporary. I was like trying to do process of elimination, basically, with all of these things. Lo and behold, my aunts say in November, hey, we're just going to do a memorial service because
Oh, wow.
home. In my head, I said, I don't really care what the hell y'all do. My mother's alive.
So back up, when y'all went to the hospital and it was the Asian lady, did the hospital apologize? What was
they had to apologize, of course, but just imagine someone taking all of your money from you, give it back to you, and say, psych, I'm not giving it back to you. It broke their heart.
Yes. Yeah.
Matter of fact, it reminds me of 40 Acres and a Mule. Right? You enslave us, then you give us 40 acres and a mule, and then you take it back from us. Right? It was just like that. And I know that they didn't mean anything by it, but it was neglect. This is a short Asian woman, and my mother was a woman who was like 5'9", and she was black, with braids. So those things that we experienced, along that journey.
Yeah.
And so November comes, Thanksgiving comes that Thursday. We were down south. And then that Friday, we did a memorial service with the family, immediate family down south, whatever the case is. And I'm just sitting there, and everyone's like, Travis, I'm so sorry. And in my head, I'm just like,
what?
Sorry about my mom.
Wow. Yeah. Because you're still thinking that she's going to be found.
She will be found, right?
And I'm laughing because knowing the Travis I know now, in his head, he's more vocal now. But imagine him at 12 years old. He probably like, y'all just wasted y'all money.
I was looking at these people like, y'all nuts. Like, what's wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
So we have the memorial service. We come back and then have a big memorial service, like a really big memorial service here at December. And at this point, I wasn't crying because I thought my mother was dead. I was crying because I missed my mother. Where the hell is my mother?
Right.
I don't know. I'm about to be 13 years old. Like, I'm about to celebrate a birthday without my mother. What's going on? Then it snowballs literally from now not even really being able to process mourning my mother, now watching my father and my aunt fight for custody for me.
Yeah. So you go from one tragedy to another.
The next.
Oh my goodness.
One trauma.
Most not tragedy, but one trauma to the next. And the fact that he came around, once your mom was, what they perceive that something has happened, she was coming back. And not knowing him, and then now, because it's almost like you're going with a stranger, because you haven't really had that
developed a relationship. I wrote a book. I wrote a book about this literally just 2 months ago, and I'm about to send it to publishers.
Wow. All right.
Congratulations.
About time.
Thank you.
It just
I
shows
write in
the
the book.
resilience.
I write in the book like how for the longest time I was upset with my dad, but I had to realize he was only doing what he was supposed to do.
Fight for you.
Come and get his kid.
Come and get
He
your
fought
kid.
for you, right?
Right.
He did what he was supposed to do, regardless whether if someone put it in his ear or not. He did what he was supposed to do.
Right. And you can rule out that he was fighting for you from a genuine place because money wasn't discussed.
Money was not discussed. I knew nothing about money. Let me just say this. I knew nothing about money until I had to go to, let me tell you, when I figured out I had money, right?
And he got money, y'all. Like he got money, y'all.
And we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about that too. But it wasn't until I was 16 and it was like, oh, hey, you got to write out your will. And I said, a will for what?
Wow.
It was like, because you have this money and God forbid if something happens to you, you have to figure out how to, put this money away. But so I watched my aunt, my aunt lost her job behind this.
Oh my goodness.
She slipped into a depression.
This is Aunt Vivian.
Aunt Vivian, yeah. I watched both my aunts, my mother's sisters, just their hearts break.
Wow.
Now it's like raising this kid. Then I also watched people in my church family. I watched how they, some loved on me. And then I watched them just treat me terrible. I watched adults treat me nasty. Although, and I said this before, I was a good kid. But my problem was my mouth, right? My mother was always slapping me in my mouth because, I was always quick. Yeah. But then like turn the fire up now and these adults are like treating me weirdly. Right. But I talk about like having patience with kids because kids know when you don't like them.
Yes.
Kids know when you do not care for them or how you treat them and how it makes them feel, right? And they only respond based off of where they are in trauma.
Right.
I've had some adults in church tell me they were gonna beat my A or mess me up. Yeah.
I mean, because they church people don't mean that.
Church people. And here it is, church people ain't nothing but street people.
Right.
They all fall by the wayside.
Yeah,
So Trav, let me ask you this, and I've asked you this before, but for the sake of the podcast, right? At what age or at what point in your life did you accept and realize your mother passed?
That was it.
When did you accept her death?
I accepted her death. I never forget August 10th, 2007. I was on my way to college. And we're talking
7 years later.
7 years later, right? I'm 18 years old now.
Wow.
I had this thing in my head that she was going to come down to Island Church, and it would be like this whole, oh my God moment, or she'd walk through a door, or, hey, I've been, out, or, I've been in a mental institution. I made up all these stories in my head.
Hey, I was at Disney World just trying to
just chilling, chilling with Mickey, And I was putting pictures up in my wall. And there was like this one 8x11 of picture sizes, right?
Yeah.
It was this literally, I don't know how I shaped it, but it was like this one perfect spot for this 8x11. And it was a picture of my mother and I. And I put it in the center. And that's when I realized this woman ain't never coming home. This woman is never coming home. Yeah. It's like, and in my head, I was just like, you have to do what she prepared you to do. Right. My mother's biggest wish and dream was that I would go to college and graduate. And I'm sitting in college.
That's right.
My first and second day, living out her dream. And it was in that moment I was just like, wow, yeah, she's not coming home. And I never forget, I put the picture up and I just wept in my dorm room and I cried. That in me is when I begin to find more of myself as this growing adult and not a child anymore.
So let me ask, speaking of, and you spoke about your resilience, and of course, faith keeps us grounded. But I'm pretty sure people would have the question, being that you were a child, you lost your mother in that that ungodly event that we had to all see in the public eye. How is it that you haven't had any type of hatred towards people of the culture that kind of contributed to things? Did you go through your hate,
Absolutely. So, because my aunt, so one thing I say about my aunt Vivian is probably one of the most amazing women I've ever met in my entire life.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, she's the most resilient, and if you would allow me just to brag
and look
on her.
just like your mom too. So
Yeah. I don't know. I have this picture in my office here. It's my aunt and my mom.
Which one is your mom?
Mom is in the red dress.
Oh yeah, they all look alike.
Wonderful.
Yeah. My aunt Vivian was the one who raised me, right? I never forget. We would take, if we were late for church, we wouldn't take the train, so we would take a cab. Coming from 61st in Amsterdam to 116 between 7th and Lenox. And anytime we would hail, this is when you could hail cabs, right? Not call on your phone, you can hail
right, no Uber.
Cab,
No Uber.
Remember the dollar cab?
No Uber,
Be like this.
Yeah, I remember the dollar cab.
Yeah. So I never forget, we would hail it, and I'm like, I'm not getting in that car. And there would be a man with a turban on. I'm like, I'm not getting in that car. Come on, Charles, gonna be late. I said, I'm not getting in that car. Because I thought in my head, every person who had turbans or who were of Muslim faith, who dressed in this garb, were terrorists. And they would try to kill me. I for the longest, and it wasn't until I got older and I had to like do away with my own ignorance, of course. But I could not fathom or see or understand why these people would try to kill my mother. Right. I had a little hate for them. And then when Obama killed Osama bin Laden, people kept asking me, how do you feel? And I said, I don't feel no kind of way.
Yes.
Well,
like, this Negro had it coming to him. Right.
It didn't bring your mother back.
It didn't bring her back, right? But he not only killed people in New York, he killed people in Pennsylvania, and he also killed people in DC. Right? And then you were terrorizing our troops over there and made us go into this war that we didn't necessarily need to go into. So I really didn't feel no kind of way. It wasn't like a relief for me, because by that point I was in college and I had already accepted, the fate of what it was. But for the longest time in my formative years, I definitely had a disdain.
And some people might even think, shoot, be mad at the current president at the time, because he could have avoided whatever beef him and Osama had, because on a real condensed version, they had beef. Our president handled it right, and they did things the way they felt they needed to do, which that wasn't the right way. Now, Travis, what I want to ask you is, some people may be watching this, don't know you, but like he's not shedding a tear. He, still have a very jovial and bubbly spirit. Maybe that sometimes this is what money can do to a victim. It can make them live life better. Do you feel that, especially with the victim compensation fund at a young age, having millions of dollars, that made life easy for you? And I'm asking this question for what viewers may be thinking, right? Do you feel like that it made life easy for you? We know that from 2001, I think, to 2004, over $7 billion in compensation was given to families of the 9/11 victims. But to see the spirit that you have,
it wasn't enough.
No.
Let me just say that. And talk about systemic racism. It was not enough. And I'm gonna tell you how I didn't realize this until I got older. So I brag on my Aunt Vivian, right? My Aunt Vivian, she took care of all of that, right? My Aunt Vivian ended up becoming the
power of attorney?
The executor of my mother's estate, because I wasn't of age.
Okay.
And my aunt, well, let me just say this. My aunt, outside of going to court with my dad to fight that, this is another court battle my aunt had to fight as well, too. Right? We ended up getting a lawyer, and I'm gonna put him out there. His name is Rubenstein Renecki.
Just by his last name, he was good.
But he wasn't the best lawyer, right?
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because he just settled for what they gave. Now, what happened is he's the type, he don't like to lose cases. If he would not have settled and he asked for more, and they said, no, we're gonna get this, that would have been a loss for him.
Right.
He settled what they gave. Now, I watched the firefighters, police officers, some of the white counterparts to my mother, their husbands and their wives receive millions and millions of dollars. And when I looked at my check that I got from my lawyer, it was $999,999.99.
Wow.
Now you do the math. That's what the government gave us.
That's what they gave.
Not a penny over to make it $1 million.
To make $1 million, like
But
your
they
black
ended it
behind is
right
not
at
getting
the,
$1 million.
right at the cents. It's a
So-
shame.
And
What
now some
happened-
people
what
watching
people
this
don't-
third 716 maybe watching this. That ain't even nothing. I don't know if you know what happened with the May 14th tragedy here in Buffalo at the Tops tragedy. They ain't getting nowhere near that. You understand? So people may be watching like at least he got that. But again, we're talking about
the difference is that I watched my young white counterparts who lost their parents. They were awarded 1.5, 2.2, 3, 4, $5 million.
Yeah.
And we didn't get anything.
That's a shame.
And so I talk about my aunt. My aunt took it. The lawyer was trying to take $300,000 of that $900,000. He wasn't supposed to take anything. He was supposed to do it pro bono because on the back end, the government was paying the lawyers for taking
right.
So we had to take our lawyer to court. Because for years, from the age of like 14 to like 16, my aunt wouldn't take the check.
Right.
Because she knew it wasn't right. And she knew that he was not going to take all of that money. Now, anyone who's an executive of the estate normally gets an allowance from the estate.
Right.
By this time, my aunt had won custody. So my father had to pay child support. But let's talk about it. Forget rent because we lived in the projects. I was still in private school.
Right.
That was $600 a month.
Right.
We're talking the early 2000s. That was a lot of money for tuition.
Right.
That's absolutely.
And it's still a lot of money now for tuition.
So I know.
It's a Yanni start school tomorrow. He almost went to public school.
Yeah. So my aunt took the penny when she finally won it and she got the check or what have you. She took the penny and she
made it $1 million.
Made it $1 million. That's what my aunt's OG. My aunt not only did that, but my aunt took not one single dime.
Wow.
That's her sister. That was her sister. You are the offspring of her sister.
But still, there's some aunts and uncles out there, they crazy.
But she had that.
But that's love.
That she was possibly living with. Yeah, that's definitely love. But for her, she would have felt even more guilty.
Absolutely, yes.
From him, being that she felt this guilt of leaving her sister there. You know.
Listen, I know if it was my aunt and my dad's sister, and if she's watching this, she was gonna take the money straight up.
When I talk about the government didn't make me a millionaire, my aunt made me a millionaire.
Right.
With that penny.
Bless the Lord.
Now let's talk about this, Travis, because I mentioned it earlier. I've never seen you I could say you manage that money very well. You've always had nice things, but you would always budget too. And Travis has always been my best friend. There was nothing, there's 3 types of love, right? You have agape love, you have philo love, brotherly love, and you have erotic love, eros, right? Or stegno, right? So this has always been a philo love, my brother, right? So when he would take me out to eat different things, sometimes be like, we can't get that. Latoya, we can't get that. You budgeted, but you always had nice things as well.
So the funny thing is, my aunt managed my money, right?
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Aunt Viv, salute.
That's it.
Hire Aunt Viv in a couple of months.
my aunt did when she made it $1 million. She took the entire amount, literally the entire amount, and she put it in the stock market.
Ooh.
And from 2004 until 2008, I had $1.4 million.
Wow.
From that penny, I had $1.4 million.
And let me let y'all know, Travis does walk around with a detail. So if y'all think y'all gonna run up on him, cancel.
But
I'm about to break hearts in a minute. You just wait. I'm about to break hearts in a minute. But check this. I had the money. I was only given. It paid my tuition, right? So my aunt paid my first year off cash, right? With that money, I got my car. I was determined to get a car before I went to college.
That Honda almost crashed.
That Honda Accord. Let me tell you what Toya did. We were arguing one day. I told her I'm gonna tell this story. We were arguing one day. She said something. I said, Toya, shut up. And she said, you want me to shut up? And she took the wheel and yanked it.
Oh my God. Why you had to tell that? Well, okay. So like you said, she paid the tuition the first year, Cash.
You don't want to talk about that, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Snatching the wheel. Okay.
That's how I knew. I said, oh, she's crazy. I like her. But the stock market came or what have you. The crash came in 2008. I had lost a lot of money. And so I went from 1.4 to like $700,000 or $600,000, right? I knew it was part of the game. You leave your money in or whatever the case is. So we had some of the money in there, but what people don't tell you is the stock market is not something that you just take all your money out of. You leave it in to grow because eventually it's going to grow back, right?
And there's volatility that comes with it.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I was set up with, I could only get $12,000 a year.
Okay.
And so that put gas in my car, that paid for my car insurance, that paid for my food. If I went shopping or I wanted to go out, it gave me a cushion.
Yes.
Right. But no one, right? And although my aunt was amazing, but no one taught me how to budget money. No one taught me the importance of credit. No one taught me the importance of how to save.
Yeah.
So I'm in college, and what do you do? What does an 18-year-old do?
Yeah.
Right. And then now I have free access to this money. I call my banker, hey, I need, $2,000.
And you had a girlfriend that you was buying gifts for, because I remember that. I was like, wait a minute, we gotta stop buying her Uggs and all this stuff. If she watching now, sorry, yes, I was everything. The one. I was the one that said you couldn't get those.
This is when Betsy Johnson was like a big thing. Yeah. I remember I was buying Betsy Johnson purses and dresses, and bags and shoes. Yeah.
Wow.
But again, for me, I thought, right, and talk about relationships, I thought that's what a man was supposed to do. I thought a man was supposed to lead with money and not lead with his heart.
Yeah.
Or at least lead with his mind, right? And so I had all this money. I spent it. By the time I graduated from college, I had bought my first home. I was driving a Cadillac Escalade because I had gotten to this new relationship. I thought I was going to get married. I had picked out a ring. I was like, all right, cool. Just fresh out of college, But I had already knew where I wanted my life to go and how I wanted to set up. So I was like, I don't mind spending this money, if it's for my future, right? That didn't go well. And I went into a depression from there. And I smoked every day and I drank every day.
This news to me. You smoke? I could never see that.
I was smoking every day.
What? Black pepper?
Weed and Black and Miles. Okay.
Black and Miles. That was the thing that back then. That time.
It was. It was. And people still doing it. But it was something that I found myself intrinsic in, and I was still active in church. I was still active in choir, different things. Matter of fact, I was in seminary, smoking and drinking.
Well,
because here it is. No one taught me how to handle the trauma of what I thought I was over.
Right.
I didn't go to counseling. Right. I still had issues with my dad. Right. And I'm trying to be this grown man, and I don't even know how to be a man.
Yeah.
Right. And then now my bills go from the measly little $12,000 a year to now over $10,000 a month.
Ooh.
So I have a house.
So now you making over 10,000. Now you getting over $10,000 a month.
I'm calling. Hey, I need 10,000.
Did I still did we lose contact then? I think that's when I just met me.
I think you had moved to Georgia. I had a house, right? I had a car. I had car insurance.
Wow.
The other things people don't tell you, that when you buy a home, there's so many other things that go into it. You got to pay HOA fee. You got to pay taxes. Virginia, you got to pay property taxes on a car. How am I paying property taxes on a car
Yes, down south.
I felt like you needed a horse and buggy because
I was going out to eat. I was traveling there, so my expenses got there, right? And it was going. It was cool. It ran well. I moved back home, went really well. And then I didn't notice until I looked at my portfolio. My portfolio only had $30,000 in it left.
1.4.
And I done paid for people's tuition. I done paid for car notes, mortgages. I had given all to my family, paid for cars, paid for jewelry, clothes, trips. I am 25 years old, 26 years old, and I'm left with $30,000, which means that I was spending roughly up to $100,000 a year.
Which means now you can only spend $1 a year for the next 30 years.
Right.
$1.
$1.
So, I was just like, whoa, like
Right.
it didn't hit me, and it hurt me
Mhm.
because now I'm not able to move and shop the way I wanted to shop. I can't buy a car the way I normally would buy a car. I done had several cars, changing it out every other year, every 2 years, whatever the case is. I gotta borrow money from my aunt. But then I realized it was a learning lesson for me.
That's right.
In that moment, here it is. I realized God had to bring me down from that high.
To humble you. Had to humble you.
Wow.
Had to humble you.
To humble me, right? I often preach about how sometimes you could be high on the mountain, and the day you fall from the mountain, from grace
to the valley,
you can't find no one.
No one.
No, nobody.
Listen, the psalmist said, yea, though I walk through the valley.
No one. Hey,
or the clock.
And I was too prideful to ask anybody anything. But you stop having parties. You start, you stop taking people out, or hey, you got to pay your own, or hey, I can't pick up the bill now. Before I was picking up the bill everywhere we went, I was picking up the bill. And it wasn't that, I don't think it was that I wasn't humble. I think I wasn't responsible.
Absolutely. But nobody taught you how
to be responsible.
Because you was very given. Even you would pay for things at school to everybody, order stuff for the choir. I mean, you wasn't. You said.
But nobody taught you how to be responsible with that money, and that's what happens too with a lot of the ball players. That's why they end up getting money, because they never had it. So once they get it, they go. Everybody. People come out the woodworks. Everybody wants something. Everybody come with their sob stories, or you want to feel love from your family. So you want to, you helping people out. And if that's the person that you are, but nobody's taking into the account how you're going to get that money back.
People were just looking.
And they never tell them how
people were looking and talking behind my back, didn't say anything. I had people tell me, you should save your money. Okay, what does that mean?
You ain't say that when you was asking for it.
Right.
Hello. Right. Oh, it was benefiting because I was buying you Chanel, I was buying you Louis Vuitton and Gucci, right? But the reality is, if I should save my money, how should I save my money? Exactly. And I think that's the problem. People can tell you something, but they also don't show you how to do it.
No details.
And the reason why they're not going to give you the details because they don't want to see you grow or win.
That's it.
And that's one of the problems with the ecclesia on a whole, because I'm sure if you had went to a rabbi, if you were Jewish, or you went to the imam, if you were in a mosque, they would have shown you how to invest your money in other ways, or say, look, son, slow down, or this is what you need to do. And I think oftentimes when it comes to us, right, in the African diaspora, we do not take the time to teach one another. So tell us about learning from this. What are ways that you are now implementing the lessons you've learned in your current congregation, and how did you build yourself back up?
Well, one, I took my behind to work.
Right.
Y'all hear that? Because if a man don't work, he shall not what?
Shall not eat.
I took my behind to work. So, I realized that one, I had to work regardless, right? I just knew I had to work. I even knew at an early age, this wasn't money that I could live on for the rest of my life, right? Especially in like how I was maneuvering through it. That's one. Two, people who are still part of this 9/11 tragedy, they still receive compensation from the victims' compensation every year, for a while, or whatever the case is.
So you still get money.
Yeah, and what it is that the government felt guilty about what they should have done, and what they should have given us, and so now
because they signed one in 2004, and then in 2019 they went and did something else. I think I want to say President Trump signed a law called the September 11th Victim Compensation Fund through 2092. I think y'all continue to get.
It's 2039 or something like that.
Okay, forgive me. Okay, I didn't want to misspeak, but yeah.
So that's one of the other ways I've had to kind of like, I've helped to build myself back up, right?
Okay.
But being a very successful educator has definitely helped in that moment. But it taught me how to budget. It taught me how to manage money.
But you said God gave you a second chance to be a millionaire again. Come on, bless the Lord.
I'm telling you.
And what I should have gotten, you know, when this first all happened, you know, I will get, you know, and I think the scripture is totally correct when he says the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Give us a sermonette before we head out. Go on, preach that.
That's right, because I was going to say we got just a few moments, and so I was going to ask you in the last few moments that we had, and listen, you have got to come back.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like an hour, this is just not long enough. Like
because we didn't get to talk about the food pantry at his church, and he has a large church. How many members? Tell him how many churches. Not everybody do a storefront in New York City. How much? How many members?
Toya loves to hype me up so good, and
how many members? Tell us how many members.
Was it looking like Brooklyn? Was it looking like this Labor Day weekend? Those people out on the street in Brooklyn.
Right. So
how many members in your congregation?
When I got to Sharon, we had 12 members, 12, 13 members. Right now, we're on the
of what? How many?
84 right now.
Okay.
I've only been here for 9 months.
Wow.
So I'm watching God grow it. I asked God when I got here, because this was a God move too, because when I graduated from seminary 11 years ago, when seminary wasn't popular, or, you know, get a master's of divinity wasn't popular. Now it's very popular. Anyone can get it now, whatever the case is, but we're not gonna go there.
Right.
I remember crying, asking God, like, you told me to do this, right? You called me to this journey. You called me to this space. How is it that I maximize on this, right? I know you called me to pastor. I know you called me to pastor a community, but why isn't this happening? I'm about to be 40 years old. You know, ain't nobody gonna want to hear no 40-year-old preacher, you know, just starting.
Listen, Moses was 40 years old when he smote the Egyptian, right? Fled and ran and encountered the wilderness and then went back.
Yes,
right?
Yes. But see, these are things that I couldn't comprehend, right? Because I watched everyone else around me. Now, mind you, I'm on a decline, right? I done lost a lot of my money. I don't have no money. So it's not that I'm looking for the church to pay me back, but at least open the door for success, right? I'm here and everyone else is going here. And so I watched it, and it wasn't until last year, because I was ready to give up. I applied for a job.
Wow.
Well, listen, you got some churches where the leader going here and the congregants going here. So I think I like the way
which is the majority of the time.
It's sloping.
That too. But
you know, but I was on my way to DC to become a principal. I was over ministry.
I remember that.
I was done with it. I knew God had called me to this, and I said, you know, I'm out. And then the church calls me, right? I get here. It's not in the best shape that it possibly could be, but you know, I've always been the person. I'm gonna deal with the cards that I have in my hand at the end of the day.
Right,
and
right.
I got here. I saw the mold. And y'all have to come, because the church did not. And I'll show y'all pictures. The church did not.
We coming.
We be there. Because we coming to do work, because you got the food pantry. I saw the launch, and it's doing amazing. Although you have 84 people in your congregation, you serve
hundreds of people a week.
Hundreds in that food pantry. I see it. Okay. So we coming there, and we coming there with our cameraman. So y'all watch out. Things is about to happen. We taking the stir to the boogie down Bronx.
Gathered, he is among.
He will be there.
Okay. All right.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what?
But it don't matter how many people you have in your congregation.
Absolutely.
Whether one or two are gathered.
But you know what I realized too, and I know we have to go. I realized that for me, it ain't about the numbers, because I know God promised me, and I know what He showed me. Right. It's just faith. It's just being faithful to what He's assigned you to do now. And you'll watch your benefits, and you'll reap your benefits as soon as you are faithful over the few things God has given you.
Right.
Because I'll make you ruler over many. So I ain't worried about it. They're coming.
Don't worry about it.
They're coming. So.
Oh my goodness. What an amazing impact. What an amazing impact that you have had on this podcast. And every single life that you are touching out there, every mouth that you are feeding, sir, you are a blessing.
Yes,
and I thank God for the anointing on your life. I thank God for the assignment that God has given you. And I thank God that even though you've been through all that you've been through, and I know your mother is looking down and she is godly proud, just like I am, of everything that you're accomplishing. Please know that we will continue to, if you need anything from the Stir 716, you just let us know.
Yes,
we will
sir.
be there.
We
will be there. But this is the end. For everybody watching and listening, don't forget to please like, subscribe, share. Please make sure to hit us up. Let us know what you're thinking. If there's any other topics that you want us to cover on the Stir 716, hey, put it in the comments.
And listen, we want you to drop a heart in the comments for 9/11 as we commemorate 9/11. I want you to drop a heart. If your family, a friend, a loved one was impacted by 9/11, I know you got to sign in to leave a comment. Take the time to do that for those who have lost their lives in 9/11. This is not about reviews for us, but this particular episode is about remembering the lives that was lost. So leave a comment and send a red heart to us, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, peace out.
Peace out.
This is Mrs. T, aka The Spark, along with co-host The Doc and our cool cousin Kim. Subscribe to the Stir 716 on the Jazzcast Pros Network, available on all major platforms. New episodes released the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. And remember, the Stir 716, where education meets conversation.